Hello, everybody. It's Emily Aries here, the founder and CEO of Bossed Up, and welcome to today's Career Crush Q&A conversation. I am so excited to welcome Michele, Ms. Motivational Gordon, here with us today, a fitness entrepreneur out of New York City, who I've had the pleasure of getting to know at one of our recent Bossed Up Power Hours up in the Big Apple. And I'm so excited for her to share her story with you today, but how she started her own company, where she's at in that journey of crafting a boss life for herself, and not only some of the entrepreneurial lessons learned along the way, but also how to live a happy, healthy, and sustainable life that includes taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. I'm Emily Ayers, the founder and CEO of Bossed Up. Here at Bossed Up, our mission is to help you craft a happy, healthy, and sustainable career path. And many of you have heard my story about burnout. You can watch that on our YouTube channel. Bossed Up is really here to help you push back on our burnout work culture and step up as the boss of your life. Throughout today's conversation, we're going to be taking your questions live. I encourage you to communicate with us on Twitter today. Use the hashtag CareerCrush to see every one of these conversations. They happen every Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon here on the Eastern Seaboard. And you can also communicate directly with me at BossedUpORG. That's our handle on Twitter and Instagram. And at Ms. MZ Motivational to connect directly with Michele either today during our conversation, because I'll be monitoring Twitter here in real time, or if you're watching this later on our YouTube channel, keep the conversation going with us. We both love to answer questions and communicate with our fans through Twitter and Instagram. So without further ado, Michele, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for that great introduction, and hello everybody who's watching. So as Emily mentioned, I was just going to say my name is Michele, but a lot of people have referred me over the past few years as Miss Motivational. If you can visit me at missmotivational.com to see all the different things that I do. I run a program called Cardio Sweat Party. It's an amazing fitness class. It's based in New York City, but more to come anywhere in the world over the next few months, so stick with me. I also lead programs called Sweat for Success, which are workshops to help you achieve your goals and feel great while doing it. And that's one of the reasons why I connected so much with Bossed Up, because it's really all about how you make things happen and feel great along the way.
I love it. So how did you get into this business, Michele? Like, what is the story behind the Ms. Motivational brand, and how did you arrive in this kind of a career path yourself?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know this about me, especially when you meet me right now when I'm teaching or speaking. But I used to be really, really shy, and I used to get sick all the time. And my journey really started for me when I was in college. I always had a vision for myself. And when I lead programs, whether it's a workout class or a speaking engagement, I always ask people to envision their success, what it means for them, because I truly think having a vision is so important to success and just happiness. And I had a vision for myself. I envisioned myself speaking in front of people, really making a positive change. I didn't know what that was going to be, but I had that vision. So I was just following other people. I always had this vision for myself, but I never broke out of my shell to go and actually do it. By the time freshman year ended, I felt really lazy, lethargic, and it just wasn't me. And I decided, okay, I have to make a change if I really want to make things happen. So the first thing I did was get back into fitness. I was kickboxing, and I learned a lot more about nutrition and how to eat better and feel better. When I came back to school, everybody instantly noticed a difference. I was smiling more. I had a healthier glow about myself. And I decided, okay, I'm going to take this to the next level. I signed up for a leadership job that I had where I had to lead speaking engagements, learn about leadership, what it means to be empowering, have values, ethics, morals, and just create a sustainable, healthy work environment. The same time, I became a group exercise instructor where I had to speak in front of people all the time. So in that 2 or 3 week period, I overcame pretty much every obstacle I ever had. I was afraid to do anything, and all of a sudden I was doing everything. And all of a sudden, I think my inner light really showed up. When I would teach, the whole room would light up. I would get so excited. And I was always a teacher in some sense. When I was younger, I always tutored and helped people. And I always wanted to be a teacher, actually. But I never wanted to be just a teacher. I never wanted to do what anybody could do. Maybe that's just me being like an Aries and I wanted to be like special, but I don't know. But that was it. And from there, everything really just spiraled. And it wasn't just in necessarily fitness. I became a personal trainer. I took on a lot of things. But even in college, I thought this is just a hobby. This is a great leadership skill. I enrolled in entrepreneurship courses. I even was a finalist in a business plan competition by the time I finished school, and I helped a lot of businesses start. And during that time, I started a blog, and it was called at the time Make It with Mish, which stood for Motivation, Action, Knowledge, and Education.
Nice.
And it was all about how to help people achieve their goals and feel great while doing it, and also just sharing my journey of overcoming obstacles every day.
Right.
And over time, that evolved into missmotivational.com. So that's kind of where that kind of came into play.
I love it. And I also think it's so easy to find yourself with pipe dreams, with, visions that we don't take very seriously, right? Like, oh, someday I would love to be at the head of a fitness class, and
Right.
think of that as almost like a pipe dream. And then what is so much easier to do is just follow along with our friends, or just fall into a habit of what other people are doing and what is normal. And in college, I know you shared with me earlier, what was normal was, let's go out drinking, a couple nights a week, or let's, hang out at the park or at the library all the time. Whatever is normal is is basically allowing your friends to dictate your life, instead of stepping up and saying, whoa, okay, here's where I want to end up. Let's break this down into baby steps and make a plan to make it happen, which is easier said than done in today's world, right? That's part
It
of
really is. And I learned that at such, I think, a young age, too, that I was still going out. I was just prioritizing when I would do it. Do you need to go out and party 5 nights a week? No. You balance it out, or you go to work out and then you go out,
right.
whatever it is, or you study. But what I really learned was that fitness helped me become a better leader. I was able to speak more, stand up better, breathe better, feel better, be more productive and creative. And that's really what fueled a lot of what I do today, because if it wasn't for taking care of myself,
Right.
I really would not have been as successful. And it was along this journey that I was in maybe bad relationships, or my friends were, going through depression or eating disorders and all these things.
Yeah.
And even in the jobs that I've had, where I can get into a little bit, one of the first jobs, for example, that I had, I was in a role where it was with all men and I was the only female, and I had to fix something, I remember. And this guy stood over me. For those of you who have never met me, I'm 5 feet tall. I'm a little person. And he stood over me and he said, "You're a little girl. What do you know? You can't fix this." I know.
Wow.
And all these things have happened where, we face these struggles every single day, especially I think as women, and we need to do things that make us feel well, that make us feel strong. And I've even gone to fitness classes where people yell at you saying, go, 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 harder, harder, harder. You're not good enough, whatever it is. And that's just not my style. And you have to feel empowered, I think, every day.
I
To
love
fight those.
that, and I can so relate to that, Michelle, because what I found, and I'm like the kind of person who wants to hear the anecdotal piece of evidence, wants to hear the story, and then wants to see the data that backs it up. And so in my own life, I had gone from being burnt out, overworked in a series of chronically toxic relationships, to, when I moved to Washington, D.C., really started to draw healthier boundaries for myself, and for the first time in about 5 years, reconnected with my college sport, volleyball. I started volleyball, I started training, and I set big, ambitious, almost like totally audacious and intimidating fitness goals that meant I ended up competing in my first ever half marathon and my first ever
Amazing.
triathlon, all while turning my life around and starting my company. And what I found is that physical strength gave me a newfound sense of possibility and strength in my working life and in my relationships. And when my physical well-being was prioritized, the rest of everything sort of fell into place. And the research actually backs that up, right? A growing body of research has shown that happier, and in particular, healthier people are more focused and more productive and are harder working. So
Right.
it's part of that underlying real core value here at Bossed Up in particular, and I know this is part of the Ms. Motivational brand, which is that work and wellness are so connected. Have you found that to be true in the women you work with and the people you serve and in your life too?
Yeah, absolutely. And it started off with myself, and then I noticed how it really transitioned for everybody else. Um, After college, I started a job in management, and that was the first time also, just like everybody else, I had to balance even working out for myself. It was really hard.
Yeah.
And working out for myself, and I worked as a fitness manager for a gym. And I decided that I knew I still wanted to be a speaker, and how can I do that? And I started writing an ebook, Sweat for Success, and that's what really fueled everything that I'm doing now. And I created the term fit leader because I truly believe that fitness and leadership just go hand in hand.
I
And
love
there are things that you can do in your workout routine that help you become a better leader. And I always tell people in my programs, when you start to move laterally side to side, that helps you to be more creative and more productive. If you're tired at work, I always joke with people, hopefully you can see this on the roof. I tell everyone to raise the roof. And
I'm doing
so,
it.
yes, do it. You could do it at your seat. Everyone could do it. You could do a little arm circle, whatever. And I would do this even in the jobs that I've had on conference calls.
Yeah.
Because at 3 p.m. when you're really tired, coffee is delicious. I know. I love it too.
Right.
Getting your hands overhead gets your heart rate up, so you're going to wake up. Plus, the move is so silly that you have to laugh. So
Right.
hopefully at 3 o'clock, you're going to raise the roof and like love it even more.
So
And
I
I
want
still
to
do that.
challenge your viewers right now, if you're watching, to join us in doing that. Because a big part, everybody knows, I have to confess, I am obviously in athleisure wear right now. So everyone knows if I'm not on stage or at a training or giving a talk, I am usually in my yoga pants at my
Me
own
too.
desk. Totally like my entrepreneurship dream come true. But that's not always the case for everyone. And in my last consulting job, I was the first person in the entire office to hack together an IKEA standing desk. And I now have a custom-made standing desk that my incredibly handy, love of my life man made for me
Oh,
because
that's awesome.
I spend so much of my time moving, even in that, or I spend so much of my time over my laptop that if I didn't have a standing desk and a gel mat below me right now, I would fall asleep at 1 o'clock every afternoon. So it's just
I
one of
know.
added benefits, whether it's raising your hand or doing a power pose or just taking a walk. What a radical concept, instead of sitting down for the entirety of your meeting. Those are some of those practical, instantly applicable takeaways that I think you're so on point to tell others to add into our daily regimen, even if it doesn't mean getting in that 45-minute sweat session at the gym necessarily.
Yeah, and that was always my thing, that it just makes you feel better. And I think now people are starting to realize that. And I've been doing this forever, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the company culture of where you work that really you have to set the tone. It's like if you're, for example, maybe in an entry level position, it might be really hard for you to set that tone.
Yeah.
But when you know that I'm a confident go-getter, fit leader, I make things happen, you can create a conversation about it, saying, let's have our meeting going for a walk. And
Yeah.
it might be hard to break that at first. And I have a lot of people who I work with that said it was really hard. But once they started to say, let's take, a break and, take a walk around the block while you call your grandmother or whatever, do that kind of thing. It does help you be more productive. And I personally would rather have that midday break and work a little bit later if I could just have that for myself.
Well, I want to ask the folks who are tuned in today to send us a tweet, use that hashtag Career Crush, or tweet at BossedUpORG or MZ, Ms. Motivational, and share with us what has been challenging in terms of building in time for fitness at work or drawing those healthy boundaries, because that's the biggest part of our flagship training program, Bossed Up Bootcamp, which is really this weekend-long training for people who are navigating career transition. That's one of the biggest pieces that we work on there is assertive communication, learning how to own your voice and draw healthy boundaries, even when you are at the bottom of the totem pole or the bottom of the pecking order, right? So when you are in a day job or in a corporate hierarchy and you are entry level, what can people do, Michele? Like, what advice do you give folks to start setting those boundaries and start reestablishing their priorities around health and well-being?
So when somebody's going to apply for a job, a lot of the first things that people ask for when they're looking for the best ideal candidate is that they want someone who's in it for the long run. So you can't do that if you're not taking care of yourself. And that's where I think people have to think, like, if you got the job at the company that you want to work with or you're aiming to, or even your own, look at longevity. If you can you keep up what you're doing every single day for the next rest of your life? If that's a big no, or
Yeah.
you feel like crap every day, then you have to make a change. And I know when you're starting a new job, the first like 3 weeks are usually transitional. It's hard. You might have to pick up, lunch on the go, or you might not be able to make every workout class that you want to, and that's okay. You can't be perfect, and then we're not perfect, and that's okay. You got to own it. This is my transition period right now. But that's where you squeeze in those raise the roofs or a plank in the morning or something. You do what you can. But once you find the schedule that works for you, you have to prioritize your health into your calendar. I tell people, and I do this myself, that in an ideal world, I would love to work out 5 or 6 days a week. I would love to. But schedule 2 or 3 days a week that are just for you, that no matter what, you have those. So sometimes, yeah, you're going to have a meeting that goes overboard or whatever it is, but schedule those certain days in your calendar, in your Outlook, whatever, your Google, that is just for you. I do it for myself.
Right.
I always have like Tuesday or Wednesday. Those are my days, and that's it.
I
Um,
I think it's
yeah.
no surprise that we ran into each other, that our paths have crossed, because I am obviously such a big fan of everything you're preaching here. It's part of the term that we coined over here at Bossed Up, sustainable success. Just like you talked about, longevity matters. So are you going to be hustling like this for 3 weeks or 3 years or 3 decades is always what I ask people. If you really want to craft a career with high impact over the long term, you have to invest in your sustainable success. And that is part of the biggest sort of myth that we busted last night, actually, in our live webinar about bringing more work-life balance into your life right now. And there is a really well-kept secret, in my opinion, that we're rarely talking about, that our colleagues don't necessarily share with one another, but it's the idea of actually taking some time out, taking a vacation. What a radical concept.
It's so scary.
I know, it's so scary. And taking that time to not just reset your priorities, but to re-energize for some of the busiest times of the year. That's why Bossed Up has launched our first ever Bossed Up retreat here in 2016. We're taking a group of women down to Costa Rica this August, at the very end of August, the slowest time of the year, to really re-energize, renew, and refresh in time for the fall. And I know you've got a retreat planned as well. What is that? How does that sort of fit into the whole Ms. Motivational lifestyle? And for folks who want to learn more, you can find out all the details at bossedup.com right now. And I know they can find more on Ms. Motivational or missmotivational.com as well.
Yes. So I'm actually hosting my first retreat as well in June. It's a Sweat for Success weekend. We're going to be doing everything from all of my classes, my cardio sweat party stuff. So like on the beach, workouts literally on the beach. It's really great. But also talking about leadership and creating, goals for yourself that really work for you, and how taking care of yourself is going to help you do that, because this is a really good tweetable if anybody likes those. I really believe that success is drenched in sweat. So we're getting sweaty this whole weekend. You guys will be energized, glowing, and ready to go when you come back to work that Monday right after. And it's not just going to be like working out and eating healthy the whole time. You got to live. I'm totally for that. And if anybody knows me, I'm like as real as it gets. Like, I don't spend time in the gym for 2 hours. Literally, who has time for that?
Right.
Right.
Well, that's just not my most fun way to get in exercise either.
Yeah. We have to do it in a group, whatever, we have fun. And then there'll be some bike riding, mountain biking type of things, stand-up, paddleboard, yoga, happy hours, which is always good, and, all that stuff. So it'll be a really nice weekend. And it's great to just connect, and I think it's going to be great for what you're doing as well, to connect with other, fit leaders and bossed up ladies, right? It's so great. And I noticed that in my classes, that I look around and the people who I draw in and who I love to work with are all fit leaders. They are all go-getters. I look around the room and I'm like, you guys are all kicking ass in whatever you're doing.
Exactly. And that's amazing. We call them bosses in our community, whether you're in charge of your own company or not. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
Charge of your own life. And that's why this retreat that we're planning, just like yours, is going to be about investing in your long-term sustainability, learning how to set healthy boundaries, how to invest in your refueling, right? How to actually make time, not just over the course of a vacation or over the course of a long weekend in a tropical escape with a bunch of badass ladies who are also taking a time out from their really ambitious and kick-ass careers, but how to bring some of that pura vida, as they call it in Costa Rica, the la pura vida lifestyle home with you. How can we reconcile our high ambition with our personal sustainability, and how we can start to see those two as connected and really bring home the tools and tactics and strategies to be sustainable for the long haul, get clear on what it is that we want, come back refreshed, renewed, and with a community of courage behind you every step of the way. So I love the work that you're doing, Ms. Motivational over there. What advice do you have for others who are looking to make it or enter the startup community or the fitness startup community in particular? What's your sort of business vision for Ms. Motivational, and what have you learned along the way? What would you share with others who are considering entering that marketplace?
It's a big thing. And we were just talking about it, Emily, that the one thing I want to share with everyone who's listening today, that like life is truly all about the journey. And because I'm growing myself and what I'm doing in my own work and my own career, and it's so crazy how all the things that I've done, whether they were good or bad, and all the life lessons I've learned have got me to where I am. And I'm so excited for like where things are going to go. But the one thing I've learned is the journey. And I am a go, 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 like hardcore Aries type. I'm impatient. I want things right now. And I just have to pull back. And it's really been great to just see like what I've done. So if you're trying to get into the fitness world, it's really, really hard, but you need to have a focus of like what you want to do. Do you want to be a trainer, a teacher? Because that's a lot of freelance and it takes a lot of hustle and grit to build up. One of the first huge jobs I had was a district group exercise manager for a huge fitness company in New York City. I stepped down away from that 3 years ago this week. And I was doing that. I was doing that hustle, that grind, 27 classes a week, and I got physically burnt out. And I said, this is great for people who have that vision where you can build up, but it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I didn't want to just teach and just do fitness. I want to do more about leadership and building a brand and making business happen because you're being a fit leader, right? Because you're taking care of yourself, you're able to grow. So it was through that journey where I learned like what I need to be doing. That's when I started to take on more consulting roles and working with other fitness related brands for marketing. And now that's actually been my focus of working and consulting with different brands to help them get into the fitness community. I've also mentored a lot of other fitness trainers to grow. And even though that's not personally where I want to be, it really takes a lot of hustle. And even in any part of the world that you're in, you typically don't start off making good money. So you really have to say, why are you doing this? Because if you are not in this because it's what you love, you're going to fail. You need to love exactly what you do. And that applies, I think, to any startup. You really need to love it so much and then have some sort of game plan. Doesn't have to be, exactly right, but just a plan. What you're going to do. Right, that vision. And
yeah, totally.
Just go for it. And it's going to be really hard to practice that self-care, but if you can learn things that you can do on your own to take care of yourself, and that's going to be so crucial, and it's going to make you stand out. People want to be around people who have good high energy, and it's going to show when you're just passionate about what you're doing. But you're working hard but feeling good, because when you're working hard and you go, 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 but if you're getting burnt out, people will know. And you'll know that it's not the same thing. I've gotten burnt out before, and that's when you have to start taking care of yourself. And there's a difference between like the being busy, burnt out, and being busy because you're so high off of what you're doing.
Yeah,
that you love
that's
it.
True. And I feel like it's almost easier to burn out when you're that into your work. Like burnout is one of those clinical disorders that affects the highest achievers out there, which is what's so ironic about it and why I'm so fascinated with it as a recovering overachiever and perfectionist myself, right? That's why we get into this stuff. I care so much about this work, and it's so personal to me. But what I've learned is that, A, I can't burn out fighting burnout. The irony would be too rich. But B, we have to surround ourselves with systems and communities of support. That's why we have the Bossed Up Courage community on Facebook, a totally free, open Facebook group called The Courage Community that anyone can join right now. And I'll tweet it out after today's interview, but it's just like none of us, no matter how perfect you are, or how ambitious you are, or how brilliant your vision is, can do it alone. And if you really want to dive deeper into understanding the root causes of burnout, how it strikes, how it manifests, or just you want some tangible, tactical, practical strategies for increasing work-life balance in your life, go to our YouTube channel. You're probably already there, basically. If you're watching this right now, it's youtube.com/bossedup.org, bossedup.org. And last night we had this really intensive 90-minute workshop with hundreds of women viewing to take away the best kept secrets behind work-life balance, especially this season. So check that out. That's like become my life's work at this point here at Bossed Up. And I just love, like you, helping other kick-ass women invest in their sustainability. Your focus is more through the fitness piece, and mine is more about sort of career planning and drawing those healthy boundaries, being the boss of your life and knowing how to own your power in that way. But I'm so encouraged by the work you're doing, Michele, and so excited that our paths have crossed.
Yeah, I think it meshes really well, and people need to understand it's more of like the self-care, and we go through it, and it's a cycle too. Like we have ups and downs in our life where we push really hard and we have to pull back, but it's knowing that as a leader that you have to learn your boundaries by pushing them, I think. And I've pushed myself when I started that first business I had where I was in a business plan competition. I was still in college in 24 credits. That's a lot. And I pushed and pushed, and I think one day I had like a breakdown, and I learned that I need to do 13 things to keep me sane. But once I do that 14th, I need to pull back. And I mean, that's just me being, I need to do a million things at once or else I'm not satisfied.
Right.
But, while people are on YouTube, you can also go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MISS, Miss Motivational, where I have 3 to 5 minute clips on videos on how to help you achieve your goals and feel great while doing it.
Wow.
Some of my favorite ones are Prioritize for Power and what's the other one? How to Own the Room, which I love. I'm very passionate about it, on how to own the room.
Watching your channel too, it's amazing. We're gonna have to we're basically on each other's channels now, but we gotta do some cross-channel stuff because
And I agree with what you said of just having that community, because I actually see a lot of women right now who either are in my speaking engagements or in my classes where they tapped into, now they want to be a fit leader, or they they want to move up in their career, or they want to feel better, but a lot of their friends, or their former friends rather, aren't on the same level.
Yeah.
And I experienced that, I guess, at a much younger age where I knew I had to prioritize, and people were still like partying or whatever, and I knew right away I want to have a high level leadership job. I was already maybe 22 and friends with people who were 32, and that was just me being always friends with older people. I couldn't help it. Maybe I was always called like a little mom, right? Taking care of everyone, making things happen. But so I've had a lot of people say, I don't know where to go. I need to make new friends who, understand that I want to go out for drinks on Friday or go on a date, but that I still want to wake up early on Saturday morning so I can go to my favorite gym class, food shop, whatever I need to do. And like, I know it's really hard. And I've actually become friends with the people in my classes because I get it. I'm your peer too.
Yeah.
And we're all on the same level. And
well, what I found, I think that's such a good point. I do want to wrap by giving you the last word in terms of how we can follow up with you. But just to comment on that piece around your community, what I found is that when you dare to start living the life that you would love, when you dare to step up as the boss of your life, whether it's taking charge of your schedule, or for me, skipping out on every political happy hour that happened after workday when I moved to DC as a political consultant, and just going down to the volleyball courts where I didn't know a single soul, but I knew that that's where I wanted to be. I would show up basically solo at a ton of events I wanted to be at the right communities that I wanted to hang out in. Friday nights, when everybody else was out, every Friday night I was at the gym because that's when they had the open volleyball net set up. And guess what? That's where I met the man who's been in my life for 3.5 years now. That's
such a good story.
That's where you meet your people, is when you dare to show up, sometimes solo, which can be really scary, But by daring to like lead the life you love, you'll meet the people who love it too. And then you don't need to persuade your significant other to do what you want to do. You don't need to persuade your friends to hang out where you want to hang out, because you've made friends with people who already want to live that kind of a lifestyle.
I agree. I love you point right on point.
Where
I
can we
think
hear more about your story, Michele? I know we love to keep these
yes.
brief. We like to keep them to the point, and I think you've given out such actionable, wonderful advice and practical snippets into how you got to where you are today. Give us a refresher, a reminder on where we can go to follow you, to keep up with you, to be a part of Ms. Motivational, and what folks should do from here.
Okay, great. So, right now, you guys can visit missmotivational.com, MISS motivational.com, and you'll see all of the different things that I do. There's a whole TV section, so you can see all those videos anytime, anywhere. There's a whole library of it, so if you need some motivation, definitely do it. And Emily and I are on a very similar level. We send emails out Mondays for Motivational Monday, and Fridays, once a month, I have Fit Leader Friday, so I highlight a fit leader. Hopefully, that'll be one of you. And you can also visit me on social media, MZ Motivational, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, all that stuff. Always posting daily, everything like that. And I'd love to connect with you and see what you're up to. It's really great, once again, to connect with like-minded people. I'm also launching my Fit Leader Network, which will also have that online community. So, you need a team to make things happen. So, let's get on this right now. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, have a vision for yourself, think about it, take a plan, go do it. That's it. Let's make things happen. That's it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for giving us such an inspirational afternoon. And for those of you who want to learn more about Bossed Up and our retreat, we have a special insider-only discount available for the retreat through Friday. So those of you who register by this Friday are going to save some big buckaroonies. If you head over to bossedup.com/retreat, you can get all the details there and find out more about how you and I can keep this conversation going. Thank you so much, Michele. We will be in touch real soon. I hope to see you in person, and keep kicking ass doing what you're doing, lady.
You too, and everyone out there. Bye.
Thanks, boss. Take care.